I'm joined by Malcolm Palle, Executive Chairman at Coinsilium Group. Malcolm, always good to speak. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, Dan. Thanks very much for having me on.
Thanks for coming on. So this week, Coinsilium has released its interim results, and obviously a big
Yeah.
focus has been on Forza. So after a busy summer of raising capital and accumulating 182 Bitcoin, you mentioned your ambition to continue accumulating remains undiminished
Mm.
and will continue to be influenced by market conditions and valuation considerations. I think you put it yourself well when you said,
Mm.
we did not come this far just to come this far. So I was just wondering, with that in mind, can you talk us through your thoughts on market conditions in the Treasury space at the moment and how Forza's positioning?
Yeah, of course. I think we're getting questions because we're in a very uh, volatile space, and you have to align yourself with how the market conditions are. When we first started buying Bitcoin for Forza, and raising money to do so, we were able to do so. Looking back at has been a very optimal methods, which was equity at prices that were significantly higher than our MNAV, as they call it, and then projected MNAV. And when you're doing things like that, you go with with the momentum, and we're able to actually, in a very short, constrained period of time, acquire what is at this point in time 182 Bitcoin. But in the process, and going forward, nothing stays still. It's become quite clear that market conditions have changed fundamentally, and the kind of funding that was available at the time has been slowly sort of moderating. So you don't just go out and raise money. Well, firstly, if the money's there, because obviously, the quantums that were available for us and what we actually managed to achieve were a function of the market and, the demand in the market. If the demand's not there, raising money is always a two-way thing. It's not like a tap you go and turn on and the funds are there. It's whether or not there's an appetite. And as the market developed, as more kind of noise came into it, particularly driven from the US, it became apparent that the dynamics had changed. So we had to reassess what our position was. And also the difference with us and a lot of other the propositions, and each one's, got their own unique characteristics, is, we didn't start off just coming to market as a Bitcoin treasury proposition. We've always had a fundamental underlying business in the digital asset space. Now that gives us, that's what we've always done. That's where we've come from. So this was just I want to call it a bolt-on. I don't want to sort of undermine what, the ambitions of it, but it is actually the way we've sort of, we've structured it. But we've always had to, and we are sort of focused on whatever we've got within our portfolio of investments and ventures and advisory work that we've done for the last 10 years. Where we're sitting now is we're looking at, okay, we've got to this point. And when I say we didn't come this far just to come this far, what I'm saying is I'm actually answering a lot of questions I get from shareholders. The point that I've been asked is that, is that it? Are you going to stop there? And of course, that's not the intention. That's not the ambition. But we have got to also balance what's on the other side of that, is how we raise the money and at what price and what value do we actually put on our business outside of the asset, the very sort of strong asset, the very hard asset that is underpinning our Bitcoin treasury, because there's nothing in our narrative and in our philosophy that sort of that undersells the value of Bitcoin. We do, like pretty much anyone in this space who gets it, knows it's there. But you also got to look at what it costs you to actually get it. So at this moment in time, we need to see our share price at levels where equity raises are attractive again. I don't have any doubt that will come back. I mean, maybe not to the extent it did before, but I've been through so many different cycles in so many different sectors. And this, believe it or not, although a lot of people won't see it, having been in the gold space and mining space for over 15 years before, up till now, and certainly before Coinsilium, Forza. This is very reminiscent of those cycles as well. Sentiment comes and goes. When sentiment's bad, everyone has a certain view, and when sentiment's good, it's a totally different place. And that's really where the market participation comes in and where we sit. I think you're going to ask me some questions more about the broader crypto space later on, which I'll address in that context. But it doesn't mean it's going away. It just means that, people are looking at different methods of raising funds. And we are also, we've analyzed a lot of different ways of actually getting funding to buy Bitcoin, but we won't do it in such a way that is detrimental to our shareholders, which a lot of the methods are at the moment appearing to be. So we want to make sure that the, whatever methods we use, we're not thinking, well, just because Bitcoin's going to be maybe 250,000 next year, it doesn't matter what price, how many shares we have to issue, because 6 months' time, 9 months' time, it'll all come out in the wash. Well, it doesn't always work that way, particularly when you get sector pullbacks, and you also have a business to run, and you've got accounting standards to meet as well, and you've got to show your auditors and the market that you haven't overexposed yourself either. So we're cautious, but equally we're kind of very very focused on what we're doing, and we have got another area to our business which is taking up a lot of our focus at the moment. And this will take care of itself. I don't, a bit of patience required. I don't think it'll be too long till market sentiment returns. But certainly, whilst it's as it is, this isn't the best time to actually go out and actually, raise money. Certainly not at the valuations we've got now, and we don't need to with any other aspect of our business either. So.
Right. So I think a key takeaway with respect to Forza there is that this is a long-term strategy rather than something that you and was still at the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an evolving strategy. There will be changes perhaps to the way the Treasury model works. I believe it will always have a focus on Bitcoin. I don't think anything else has come along that's given us enough cause to believe that that's going to be usurp Bitcoin as the component. But the strategy has to be flexible, and it has to allow for eventualities that perhaps aren't apparent at the moment. So it'll be an evolving strategy, but the core purpose of Forza is to give the business, as in Coinsilium as a business, the underlying robustness. It's not a vehicle to perpetuate itself for the sake of itself.
Got you, yeah. I mean, I was going to ask you if we can expect more news flow from here over the remainder of the year, but I'm guessing, given what you said, that's kind of dependent on timing and sentiment in the market.
Well, there will be a lot of, if you're talking about specific news flow about sort of the quantum of Bitcoin that will be in our treasury, that is a lot of that is market dependent, but there's also other aspects and other. I don't want to kind of preempt any news that's coming out, but it's not. The market conditions are a significant factor, but it's not the only factor, and it's not necessarily going to change things. We did mention in the interims that we will look at non-dilutive ways of adding to Forza, which I don't want to sort of get ahead of ourselves here, but there's still the optionality or the potential optionality of that. But we still need a few pieces to be in place before we can talk more clearly about that, but it is there's lots of opportunities here, and there will be other news, I think, on Forza more structurally as well. So we'll talk about that at the right time.
Yeah, definitely worth keeping an eye on. So another key emphasis in the results was Coin's unique value proposition. So it offers exposure to that portfolio of investments you mentioned earlier, rather than just being tied to Bitcoin price. And the nearest term source of potential upside there is your investment in the Yellow network, which expects to launch its native token in Q4. I was wondering, can you tell us a bit more about Coin's exposure there, and what will be next after that token launch?
Sure. Well, certainly our exposure to Yellow is an investment that we made through a simple agreement for future tokens, which we entered into in 2022. That was at the very beginning of the build journey for Yellow. So we're over 3 years later, and the company Yellow has just completed a Reg D, regulated token sale, which will enable the tokens to be legitimately listed on exchanges in the US, which is the most significant market there. For Coinsilium, it's the culmination of it's the start of a journey, even though it looks like it's the end game. Once the token lists, that's just the beginning, because the proposition for Yellow is quite ambitious, and it is addressing a lot of the inefficiencies that currently are being experienced in the crypto trading environment. And you want to get an understanding of how big the crypto trading environment is compared to just simply Bitcoin. I mean, although everyone looks at Bitcoin as being the dominant cryptocurrency, the fact of the matter is that in trading crypto, Bitcoin is part of that. And it's also, there's a whole world of decentralized finance and trading and counterparties and institutions that are growing, and they all have a requirement for trust and trust in and counterparty trust in trading, and also efficiencies. So because this whole industry grew from the ground up, it was a grassroots movement. It's evolved, and it's kind of adapted to regulation, and it's molded, but it's not been driven by one kind of big player like an Apple, who created an iPhone and dictated everything that's in there and everything that goes in there and built it in a very structured way. This has grown up like a city that has had no planning, and it's sprawling. So what Yellow is doing as a solution is it's putting in a standard for trading and for developing trust in trading, so that you have a framework that can be used by pretty much anyone in the industry, to ensure that the trading is done in a way that doesn't cause the kind of problems that we've seen. When you've got cross blockchain trading, you have things called bridges which have been built, and bridges are like toll roads between the two. So they charge you a fee for going from one blockchain to another, and there's also a patch on each end or whatever to keep that in place. And those are points of vulnerability that got hacked. And this promises the potential for an end to bridges. Now, they're talking to huge operators and being drawn all over the industry. And one of the most significant things that for us in investing in Yellow is because someone could come to us with a great idea and, the desire and the build and the enthusiasm to build it out. But without the actual connections, knowledge and experience, it's just a good idea, and it's a great great thing to do. But this has been set up by a team that's been led by Alexis Circa, who's the software engineer, and he was the S in GSR, which is the largest market making firm in the world.
Right.
So we've got a great pedigree. You've got investors coming in from the broader digital asset space, and you've got a lot of growth. But it's a very ambitious project. So we're very excited about the fact that we've got involvement in this, and we don't want this to be a distraction from anything else we're doing. And likewise, we don't want to distract investors from the other things we're doing with regard to Bitcoin. But unlike a lot of other players in the space, we have got a very exciting, call it a lottery ticket.
Mm.
It's something that could be very, very significant. I would caution people to sort of expect it to explode in value on day one, because that's not how these tokens work. What they do is they go to market on a mark-to-market basis, which is how we'll be able to treat it in our accounts going forward, because at the moment it's only treated at cost, because that's effectively the treatment for a SAFT. But the founder of Yellow, and the main lead is Alexis Circa. He's ambitiously compared the significance of this to the likes of when Ethereum launched, which is quite significant, because Ethereum was the first time that you could enable a smart contract into Bitcoin was and still is a very basic network. Vitalik Buterin, who was the founder of Ethereum, was a core developer on Bitcoin. He saw the opportunity to say, well, I like this blockchain, but and no one was thinking of store of value at the time. They were thinking about technical functionality. So he saw the potential for actually increasing the scale and the capability of a blockchain by making it Turing complete and enabling smart contracts. What Yellow does is it enables a new dimension in trading, which is a solution which lots of parties will kind of benefit from, and also potentially expand the market so that the new institutions that are now, from a regulatory perspective, being enabled to actually operate in the space due to the changes of the laws like the Genius Act in the US, this will give them a kind of a technical solution which makes it more efficient for them and also more reliable for them to integrate into traditional finance. So it's quite exciting. It's probably something that people are not going to really fully appreciate until it's actually out there. But the token launch is the first step. And, we've got a meaningful amount. We'll be able to announce the amount we expect to once the token's listed and we get permission to announce that. But, there are other investors as well. It's a huge potential project. But just like with Ethereum, it launched pre-sale at about 30 cents and, goes through iterations over the years and now trading at nearly $3,000-4,000. I don't expect this to take too many years to get to its kind of potential, because the market and the ecosystem is much more mature and developed, and it understands a lot more about what it can do. So I do expect, a much more kind of efficient way of recognizing its potential. But I also would cautious of, don't think on day one it's going to go bang and everyone's going to get it. It will take some time. But the first step is the token launch. And at that point, I believe that the quantum of tokens that we have, if you went into the market and tried to buy that quantum at that time, that would have a meaningful effect on the market. So we're quite excited. We're trying to sort of keep obviously level-headed about it, and with all the noise that's going on elsewhere, I just really want to make sure that we keep the information flow to investors out there. And I just really want to make sure that, investors and shareholders understand that's where our focus will be. It won't be being pulled in different directions to react to this and that and whatever. We can't sort of sit here and wring our hands about the market conditions, and we have to actually make sure the message is clear. We've got the crypto guys. We're used to this volatility. We've got very strong stomachs. We've lived through 90% drawdowns, but we know, that you just got to ride it. You got to ride it out. But we've got, what we can't afford to happen is for us to be distracted by that and by any other kind of, noise, and that to the detriment of our kind of ambitions and our the potential of yellow.
Got you. Yeah. So with that yellow front, there's that token launch, and then obviously there's ambitions from that point onwards.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that we can't get ahead of ourselves, but on the same token, we must be ready for any opportunities that could come out of that once the launch happens. So I suppose it's a little bit. I don't want to give you a too crass an analogy, but when you're planning for something and expecting something to happen, you do start thinking about what this could mean and where the opportunities could be for us to participate further. And that's where we're at now, but we're not letting it, we're not getting ahead of ourselves with it. We're saying, okay, well, look, that's good. That's interesting. This could be another area we could get involved in. But until the token launch, until we know what's happening there, let's stick to where we are. So I want to make sure that I'm heading off to shortly to Token 2049 in Singapore, where I'll meet with Eddie. Usually that's the one time of the year Eddie and I actually are in the same place, because we're kind of a very distributed kind of decentralized business in the true sense of the word. But we've got lots of meetings lined up with lots of different parties, and we're also talking to various people, and we're expecting, although we haven't been able to pin them down completely yet, or maybe Eddie will tell me different, to actually have some meaningful time with some of the yellow team there as well, so that we'll actually sort of start thinking about what happens post token launch.
Got you, yeah. And speaking of those opportunities, in the interims, you also reference encouraging progress by two of your other portfolio companies, which are GreenGate and Automato. Is there anything more you can tell us about that at this point?
I think I'd like to let those aspects develop a little bit more. We did mention in our interims that they're making good progress. And the reason why we mention them is because we just wanted to sort of give the heads up. There's nothing specifically we can say at the moment. But look, the thing is that there are investments in our business. We keep in close contact with them. It's not the same as having an operation. I'm not on the board, or Eddie's not on the board of Yellow, or or any of the businesses, the investments. So we only are told about things when they're ready to tell us, and we will only announce them to the market when there's something meaningful. But all I'm just reporting back on our interims is the fact that we've been having conversations with them, and we're very encouraged, and we can see the direction they're going in. And I also mentioned in the interim results that the market, generally, the digital asset market is very supportive. It's not, it's not like this Bitcoin Treasury market, which is kind of pulling itself in all different directions. The developments in the industry are very solid, and the foundations for what Yellow can do is gathering a lot of interest, and and so from our point of view, we can see things in that general direction. That would cover Automato and GreenGage as well, which are quite supportive. More so than they've been for quite some time. So it's like living in parallel universes, really. The general digital asset space, investment in that it's a good time to be around. Whereas the Bitcoin Treasury model is a frantic race to acquire as much Bitcoin as you could possibly get, and is as if it's a race against time. I'm not saying it's not, but it's still, there's still lots of twists and turns to go there. And as I say, just rolling back on that, we want to make sure that whatever way we engage in that side of the business, which is the the growth and the management of the treasury, is done in a way that ensures that shareholders benefit. It has to be value accretive for shareholders. We want our share price to go up, and we want to be able to demonstrate to the market that there's more to us than just a bucket of Bitcoin. It's a very nice bucket of Bitcoin, and we do intend to grow it as well. But if everything comes together, we do what we've done in previous cycles and previous years and make gains. We've got the optionality of using those gains to buy Bitcoin as well.
Absolutely. Well, really looking forward to seeing what Coin has in store next. But for now, Malcolm, thank you very much again for your time.
Pleasure. Thank you very much, Dan.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.